everybody, Neffertity here! I was so surprised to see how many of you enjoyed my last Rate My OC video, and even more of you sent emails in this episode. So if you didn't make it into this video, don't sweat it! You can always submit your character for another chance to appear on future episodes. If you aren't familiar with the series, consider checking out the previous video. You can find it up here. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. This is Rate My OC, Episode 4! Alright, let's take a look at today's first candidate. This is Moon by Moonblinked13. Appearance. Very strong and unique appearance. The patterns are simple yet beautiful. The color palette is also very natural, and the colors are laid out in a way that it's pleasing to the eye. Nothing is really jarring. Color palette. As previously stated, they're very natural palettes. There's nothing too saturated, but at the same time, it isn't too pale or bland. The asymmetry is an interesting decision, and it works well here in this case. I actually didn't even catch the asymmetry on my first glance. This is a really neat little nod, and I rather enjoy it. Design. Overall, the design is very nice. There's no features that really jump out, and the silhouette is as simple, but it works for this character. This could also be a con, as the character doesn't create a unique shadow, so to speak, but given the context of it giving off a very warrior cat's feel, I think that it works well in this particular case. Originality. All in all, this character is very unique and original. Like I said, it definitely gives off a warrior cat's vibe, and that isn't a bad thing here. There are very many unique designs within the Warrior Cat series, just from what I've seen here on YouTube and throughout the vast amounts of fan art on the internet. The spots are definitely one of my favorite features on this character. Interest. I love this design. I have always loved cat characters, but I don't get very many opportunities to draw them. I would love a chance to draw this character, especially with a very cinematic scene. I feel like something like this could be really neat. Overall, I would give this character a 9 out of 10. The next character on my list is CASPER by COYOTE. Now, I want to make a little interjection here as sort of a disclaimer. I selected this character for several reasons, and while my Rate My OC does not judge the artistic ability of an artwork or a character, I felt the need to address this. When it comes to creating character reference sheets, it's always recommended to avoid using the same colors or the same tones as the character and the background. I would advise not using complex patterns in the background of a reference sheet as well, as it becomes a huge blur of color and patterns, and it's very difficult to actually see the character throughout the mess of the background. I'll be making a video all about reference sheets in the near future, so maybe consider checking that out when making reference sheets. But anyway, let's go ahead and review the character itself. Appearance. My first impression was definitely jarring due to the bright background and all those complex patterns. The character does hit me as being interest, for at least the design aspect. I really like the exposed ribcage, bone tail, and some of those other markings in there that insinuate looking like skeletal parts, but in reality they're just markings on the body. Color palette. The colors do work well here with all the neutral blacks, whites, and grays to help those deep reds really pop. Having the eyes with a slight heterochromia, but definitely being the same shade, isn't something that I see very often. I rather like this little detail. Design. I like the way the black spots on the body emulate dripping ooze or some kind of slime, perhaps tar, from the back as well as down on the tail. Other than the markings, the character does not really have very many physical attributes. Originality. All in all, I would say this character is really unique. I've not seen very many with these emulated gore designs on their body, and I really like that. As previously stated, the background could definitely use some work on this character sheet. It was very difficult to see all these interesting little details. Interest. This character is definitely interesting and would be fun to draw, but I would advise the creator to work and research better on rough sheet designs before submitting things like this to the future. All in all, I would give this character a 6 out of 10. Next up, we have Apple by Shadow Blue Husky. Eee! Another duchy! Appearance. Green, 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 green! This character's entire palette is occupied by different shades of green. Given that they are inspired by a Granny Smith apple, this palette is laid out very well, even though the design itself is simplistic. Color palette. Not much to really say about the color palette here. It's green on green, with even the white tone having a bit of a green hue to it. Lots of green. Design. This character already wins brownie points in my heart, as it's a duchy and I absolutely adore Dutch angel dragons. Their designs are just so cute and wonderful. I do like the particular shades of green selected. Green is a very easy color to make weird. The character is a little too simplistic in my opinion. Perhaps adding feathers to the head or a hair tuft would give it a little bit more of an interesting silhouette. Originality. I do enjoy the idea of having fruit-themed characters. I've seen quite a few on Facebook with a whole fruit basket-themed duchy, and they're awesome. It's a cute concept, and with this character being inspired by apples, other than the name, you might not get that vibe from it. Perhaps having something like an apple marking, or maybe leaf-shaped feathers, perhaps seed-shaped markings on the body, that would really help to hone in on this apple concept and really bring it all together. Interest. I do enjoy this design. As I've mentioned in a past video, it's simple but in a good way. Simple designs are quick and easy to draw, which often makes them enjoyable. All in all, I would give this character a 7 out of 10. We now have Lucid by Koki? I think it's Koki. I apologize if I mispronounced your name. Appearance. At first glance, I wasn't quite sure what I was looking at, but that's not a bad thing in this case. There are a lot of individual details on this character that I found myself staring at in this reference sheet for quite a while. Color palette. The colors are very natural and give off an almost desert-like vibe. From a maker's point of view, this color palette does provide tons of issues. Midtones and pastels tend to be very hard to find, if not almost impossible among fabrics. This could be an issue when commissioning physical artwork of the character, such as plushies, fursuits, or even sculptures. Design. I do like the design, and the fact that the character is always wearing their mask gives it a very mysterious air. I don't understand why the halo is there, though. It seems rather out of place compared to all the other details. Originality. All in all, I'd say this character is very original. I'm not sure if it's just the art style or the particular way that the design is done, but it comes off as a bit of a kobold vibe to me. And if you're not sure what kobolds are, they're a race from Dungeons & Dragons, and they are widely popular within the furry fandom, for various reasons. I do like how simple the design is, and definitely makes me want to know more about the character's personality and backstory. They have a very Mad Max kind of vibe, like a survivor. Interest. This character is definitely interesting, and there's a lot to look at. It gives me lots of unanswered questions, though, about who they are and where they may be from. This would be a major challenge when making any type of physical artwork, though, so that's something always important to keep in mind when coming up with character designs. I would give this character an 8 out of 10. Very well done. Now we have CYANIDE by Arrow the Wagon. Appearance. Very busy. My eyes are stuck wondering what to figure out to look at. The ribcage design doesn't quite match up on the front and back, which is very confusing in a three-dimensional term, as the hands, which almost look like they have stuck-on toe beans on top of an X-rayed image, doesn't quite line up with how things are drawn here. Perhaps it's just the art style. Color palette. I would strongly advise not adding 255 black on a character like this. It makes it incredibly difficult for future potential artists to create shaded artwork of this character, or even note out all the details. This intense flat black also obscures any line work that may exist. The overall palette, not including the black, isn't bad. I feel like this design could work well, although personally it could use some improvement. Design. The design itself is interesting, and I feel it could be done really well, but as I just mentioned, it could use some changes here and there to better make it more obvious to the viewer what they're looking at. If a bone design or skeletal design is going to be added to a character, it's always important to keep in mind how it's going to look from a three-dimensional point of view. When struggling with this, I find sometimes a simple thing as sculpting a little mini model and painting on it to see how the design looks from different angles can help you better understand how to lay out your markings. Originality. Due to the sheer quantity of the markings, this character has the originality mark to it. I doubt there are two exactly alike. In my opinion, the markings are a bit too chaotic. I would suggest either simplifying them a little bit, or maybe getting a clearer reference sheet to better show the markings and their individual locations on the body. Interest. While I do enjoy doing complex and unique designs, this one would be utter hell for me to draw, and I would not consider making a plush of this character. I do like the classic edginess that the design radiates. It reminds me of the early 2000 to 2010 era where sparkle dogs were just becoming a big thing and creepypasta populated the internet. It almost has a nostalgic vibe to me. Unfortunately, I do have to give this character a 4 out of 10. Sorry. Here we have Evergreen by Luminous Skylar. First impressions are that this is a small bean, and it must be protected. I love how cute and basic the design is. It's not overly complicated on the markings, and I always have a soft spot for color gradients. And duchies. The colors work very well here. Nothing is too strong or oversaturated, and it has a nice minty turquoise. The fact that the colors are mostly monochrome with a single color pop really appeases the artistic side of my brain. Accent details. Design. I love that the ears point back in a shy position. It also adds to the cuteness of this character. The wings are also very small and petite. I enjoyed the uniqueness of the black spots on the body as well. Little touches here and there can make all the difference. Originality. I've not seen anything quite like this one, so it has that going for it for sure. It also does have hooves on its back feet, rather than having toes, which is a feature I very rarely see on duchies these days. Interest. I will always love Dutch Angel Dragons, and this one is no exception. The character looks to have a very gentle, yet playful nature to them, something I would enjoy illustrating in a variety of different poses and artwork. The soft gradient on the fur of the head would definitely be difficult to achieve in a physical aspect though, if not impossible with certain artworks. All in all, I would give this lovely little baby a 9 out of 10. This is Akuma Raven by Case Blue. Appearance. This character has a very interesting appearance. I was surprised to learn that this character was, in fact, a Dutch Angel Dragon. The color palette works well, and I really like the mighty silhouette that it casts. Color palette. The colors have a very nice dark tone, with just enough pop of color to really make them interesting. The particular tone of red works well here, and isn't too bright compared to the rest of the body. Design. The design is very jarring at first due to all the white spots. They really distract the eye when you initially look at it. I do almost like this skull kind of marking on the face. I don't see it very often in characters, and it's nice. The sheer number of spots on the character are very distracting to the overall design. Perhaps consider simplifying them, or maybe just toning them down a little bit. Originality. Overall, this character is definitely original in my opinion. As busy as the spots are, I do enjoy the effect they give to this character. However, they do provide a big issue. When it comes to getting physical artwork such as plushies or fursuits, making something of this character would be insanely expensive and time-consuming due to all those individual spots. I hope you got a nice padded wallet for that. Interest. I do enjoy this design, but I'm not sure if I would have the courage to replicate those spots in anything. Doing it in artwork is one thing, but I can't even imagine trying to do a fursuit with that many spots. Yeesh! If they were simplified just a little bit, I feel that this character would be so much more enjoyable to make artwork of. All in all, I would give it a 7 out of 10. And that about wraps it up for this episode of Rate My OC. If you enjoyed it, consider supporting me on Patreon. Patreon is a wonderful service that allows me as an artist to continue producing free content like this for all of you wonderful viewers out there. It also gives me more time and ideas to be able to make tutorials, fantastical artworks, and just wonderful zany content. You can join by following the link on screen. or in the description down below. I have all different kinds of tiers that offer various rewards. Some even include free artwork and access to my Discord server. I would like to do a special shout out though for 3 of my patrons. We have Drexfer, Osmium Dragon, and Sea Noodles. These 3 have done wonderful things being able to support me for as long as they have, at the silver and gold tiers. Thank you guys so much, I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. I would also like to give a shout out to Volt the Duchy, who's been a friend of mine for a long time and a wonderful supporter. Thank you so much. And a special new shout out to a fantastic new patron. A humongously wonderful thank you to Small Red Fox, who has just joined my platinum tier. Oh my god, I about died when I saw you supporting me. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and this is going to help me so much to continue producing content like this. Thank you! Consider joining these wonderful people and helping me produce more awesome content. Not required, but I would greatly appreciate it. Thanks so much! But as always, I do want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed it, and if you have any suggestions for future videos, feel free to leave a comment below. I always take the time to read my comments, even if I don't always reply. I hope you have a wonderful day and an absolutely fantastic life.